Hi, this is Anna Imagination with the Healing Garden. Welcome to Philosophical Coffee. This is where I heal the world with wisdom, love, over coffee. I'm going to be talking about boundaries today. I had a wonderful conversation with someone, and we talked about boundaries in depth. And then I spoke to another one of my case studies, and it was like the same conversation. And I'm like, okay, all right, we're going to talk about boundaries. There are 3 types of boundaries. Well, we're going to start with, we're going to cover this. The first type of boundary that everyone thinks of is speaking the words. Don't do that. And this is a really big no. That is not at all what a boundary is. And I also had this conversation last night with my daughter. She's like, I set a boundary and he's not respecting it. I said, what did you say? And she said, don't knock. Don't come in my room unless you knock. I said, well, that's not a boundary. And we kind of got into a row, but that was a rule. And a lot of people think that a rule for other people, which is actually a projection, is a boundary. And it's not. And this is why there's so many problems. The other issue, and I'm going to get into why a lot of us struggle with boundaries, is because boundaries do require us speaking. It requires us valuing ourselves. And it requires us prioritizing ourselves above the desires and needs and emotions of other people. And because most of us were raised with narcissists who are anti-boundaries, which is what we're also going to talk about today, it is a huge, that's pretty much a huge chunk of this. So I guess we'll start with the anti-boundaries. Let's start with the anti-boundaries. The narcissist, the problem that they have is they can't control you if you have a boundary. They can't get close to you. And I do a lot of work with narcissists. So if you are new to my channel, I need to clarify that almost everybody has narcissism, and there are 4 stages of narcissism. It is the only mental illness that is contagious, that literally trains the next person to be a narcissist, and there is an evolutional process. The first stage of narcissism is empath. It's the giver, the superhero. The second stage of narcissism is the borderline personality disorder. This is where you're toggling between narcissism, the superhero, and the damsel in distress. The third stage is the monster narcissist or the grandiose narcissist. This is what we all hear about online. So we're all filtering our RAS system, our RAS, looking for this monster narcissism at stage 3, not realizing that we are already stage 1 and stage 2 ourselves. Stage 2 is the narcissist that toggles between, I'm going to be a superhero, but I need you to save me. And then they lash out when someone saves them. There's a whole lot of reasons why. I'll get into that later. But then stage 3 is when they've completely abandoned the superhero. They are absolutely in despair. They are beyond trust and paranoia. And as a result, paranoia and distrust are their primary go-to tools. I cannot emphasize to you enough how much the paranoia is a big part of this. The despair is a huge step for transitioning from 1 to 2. The more you superhero someone and turn into a damsel, the more despair that just drags you down. And the damsel is an energy vampire. The damsel is an energy vampire. So you've got this damsel who comes in acting very weak, and they do feel weak. It's not a show. It really is not a show. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the fake. We're looking for the phony. The thing is, we are the narcissist. And that is really, it's deep. This is deep shit. But this is completely a save me, be saved cycle. This is all it is. Save me, be saved. And it revolves around the superhero who can't save themselves, which is why I say the first stage is the empath, because most empaths, all empaths, have a severe superhero save me complex. They are the white knight in shining armor. They are overgivers. They are overgenerous. Sound familiar? Now I'm going to clarify. Empath is not the same thing as empathetic. Big difference. Huge difference. An empath projects their own suffering onto other people. So when they see someone suffer, it basically is a PTSD trigger that slams into their memory. And the empath goes, oh my God, I remember when I suffered. Boom. Now you're projecting where you're going, oh, I need to stop your suffering. And what's really happening in that small bit of exchange, there's a lot going on. What's really going on is the save me superhero or save you superhero is feeling incompetent because they can't save themselves. They remembered when they were helpless, when they couldn't save themselves. They remembered that when they wished somebody had saved them. Do you see the theme? And as a result, the superhero throws themselves into the emergency, and the damsel is creating a catastrophe. This is where the damsel catastrophizes. And the superhero launches into emergency save mode, like a fireman. The problem is, in most cases, the damsel is not having an emergency. They just associate love with the attention and the saving. And that's really, really it right there, is the borderline and the narcissist, stage 2 and stage 3, very much have an association of, I am loved if someone saves me. Because I was suffering when I was a child and my parents didn't save me, therefore my parents didn't love me. See how this is like, it just keeps going back on itself. So then the superhero comes in with the, oh, I've got to save this person because they recall the suffering. So they jack up their own urgency on their end while the damsel is also catastrophizing. So we've got this parasitic relationship happening of codependence now, almost immediately, because the damsel's going, help me, look at me, I'm weak and vulnerable. And they truly do believe they are. I cannot emphasize to you enough when I did this research how absolutely there was no malicious intent. The malicious intent starts in stage 3. I can't say barely. I didn't make it to stage 3 myself, but stage 3 is, there's more paranoia than anything. Stage 3 is 100% pure, constant paranoia. Paranoia is a state of distrust. It is like full-fledged PTSD. It is despair. It is absolute, complete, convinced feeling of helplessness. Now, these are just emotions that are being produced off of the wrong metric. So the emotions are right, but the metric is wrong. So there's basically logical fallacy inside the cognitive core that is causing these emotions to be experienced without an accurate reading, because the reading is accurate, but the logical fallacy is incorrect. So you can't really correct the emotions. You need to address the logical fallacy, which is you don't have to be saved. You really need to save yourself. But this comes back to self-trust. This comes back to a whole lot of things. This comes back to self-worth, self-value, self-defined. So looking closer at boundaries now. A boundary prevents a damsel from being saved. In a lot of cases, the damsel associates closeness, even presence, as being saved, which is why they are huge on consuming all of your attention and time, is because they associate visibility with being saved. This is 100% an object placement, object permanence problem in the brain. When we are infants, like the peekaboo game is all about learning object placement. And if you never learn object placement, you're not going to have that association. You're not going to be able, oh my God, are you going to struggle? You're not going to remember people unless they are right in front of you. You're not going to think about things. You're going to feel like people leave you as soon as you can't see them. You're going to feel abandoned just when someone leaves and walks into the other room. This is object permanence, object placements. I'm going to say that again. When you have a problem with object permanence and object placement, you're going to feel abandoned when someone walks into the other room. And this is This is like everyone with borderline has a problem with object permanence, object placement. Everyone who is an empath, HSP, who never learned the first ethic of self-value, self-worth, self-discipline is going to have a problem with object permanence, object placement. If you have a fear of abandonment, this is why, because you never learned object placement, object permanence. Because of the abandonment issue related to visibility, the narcissist bans boundaries. To the narcissist, a boundary equals rejection, and a boundary equals abandonment. As a result, boundaries just aren't allowed. And they don't go around saying, you're not allowed to have your boundaries. That would be nice. That would be convenient, but that's not what they do. What the narcissist does is when you put up a boundary, the damsel cries, falls apart. Well, I don't understand. Don't you love me? They immediately assume it's a rejection and abandonment. When you have when you have a stage 3 narcissist and you put up a boundary, the stage 3 narcissist will interpret that as, oh, well, if you loved me, then you would let me. And good God, have we heard that statement? If you loved me, you would. So there's this massive misunderstanding that boundary equals rejection and abandonment. Now let's talk about you. Let's flip this around. If you are in stage 1 and in stage 2, your empath is going to say, well, if someone put a boundary up around me, I would feel rejected and abandoned. So I'm not going to put a boundary up for anybody else because that would make me feel rejected and abandoned. So this is really the root core of why so many people struggle with boundaries. This is a lot of it right here. It is this permanent placement, object permanence, boundary equals rejection, abandonment. And then when you did put it up, if you did try and put it up, the other person who you love so much and care about made a whole massive scene to make you think, oh shit, I feel myself forgiving my ex-husbands. Damn it. To make you think that you are rejecting them, abandoning them, so you avoid. Whenever we have a relationship that ends, any kind of a situation that ends, we have to have a story that goes along with it. And a lot of us use forgiveness as an armor. Well, a lack of forgiveness, a refusal to forgive with armor. If I don't forgive them, then I won't let them back in my life. And as a result, you hang on to the anger and the hate toward them to make sure you keep distance from them. Because, well, because you do love them. Because there is a part of you that did love them. And because we don't understand a lot of this, we use a lack of forgiveness as a shield. We use our anger and hate to prevent the forgiveness. That way, we ensure we never go back. It is also a part of you not trusting yourself. And as a result, because you don't trust yourself to use boundaries, you use forgiveness or a lack of forgiveness as a boundary instead. You use anger and hate. So I want you to think as boundaries more as repellent. Boundaries are repellent, not words where you say, don't do this. No, that's not a boundary. Boundaries are repellent. Now, one of the conversations I had last night with one of my peoples was she was talking about this man who was very, very clearly physically, sexually harassing her at work, touched her. And she's talking to me about, please don't do that. It makes me uncomfortable. So we're going to talk about the sweetie or the cute damsel and the bitch. The first boundary we're going to talk about is how you give your boundaries. And I love saying this. This is definitely one of those things where it's really, listen to these words. The reason why abuse is so rampant today is because no one, well, let's not use a qualifier, because most people don't use boundaries. Not using boundaries teaches other people that their behavior, no matter how unacceptable, is allowed, welcomed, and approved of. Using boundaries teaches other people what behavior is unacceptable. Bottom line, the reason why there is so much abuse is because way too many people are not using boundaries. Boundaries communicates to people in general, your behavior is not acceptable. And as a result, people will go, oh, that made them mad at me. I cannot tell you how many people, when I started using boundaries, what I got back from men, from people, was shock. Not shock that I stood up for myself, shock that their behavior was not acceptable. If you've never been told that something's wrong, how will you know it's wrong? But no one's using boundaries. So as a result, we've got a lot of people now walking around thinking that the behavior is acceptable because no one's told them otherwise. Now, there's a lot going on in psychology in our society today. And the first one is the fawning, the silence. This is where women have been conditioned to be quiet and submissive. So you've got a lot of women who will not speak up. They'll fawn, they'll laugh, they'll smile, they'll flirt. I was one of those. They will giggle. They will flop, but they won't say no. My boundary looks like this. Back the fuck off. That is my boundary. It is absolutely bitch mode. And the reason why anyone calls a woman a bitch is because it is a label that abusers put on people who use boundaries. How dare you not allow me to continue to abuse you? Now, this is the beautiful thing about boundaries. Boundaries are going to sort out real fast the narcissists from the people with good intentions. Most people fall into the, oh, I did not know, I'm sorry, category. Very few people actually fit into the, wow, you're a bitch category. And the best part is, using boundaries tells you what kind of a person they are. But if you are setting a boundary with laughter, smiling, giggling, and I'm going to tell you right now, it is not your fault. This is called the fawn or the flop response. It is a fear response because you were conditioned to smile while you were abused at some point. That's what it's from. You were conditioned to be happy while you were being abused. I'm going to abuse you and you're going to be happy about it. That's where it comes from. So if you fawn, silent, you want to know what kind of a society we live in? Look at the way our children and our women treat fear. They've been conditioned to fawn, be silent, laugh, smile, flirt, giggle, flop, instead of saying, back the fuck off. If you deliver a cutesy damsel of, oh, stop, they'll think it's a game. If you have not switched over to bitch meter, then they're not going to know. And in a lot of cases, the cute damsel amuses, entertains, and in a lot of cases turns them on. It's funny to them. What isn't funny to them is a woman who gets in their face and tells them to back the fuck off. The other problem that's playing a huge factor into all of this is the sensitivity metric. You have a spectrum. Properly setting boundaries is right here. But, and this is like there's aggressive, there's assertive, which is where boundaries should be. Like I like to be here, assertive, aggressive. I'm Brooklyn. So I like to be here, assertive, aggressive. There's passive aggressive, and then there's passive. If you are passively setting a boundary, you're not setting a boundary. If you are passive aggressively setting a boundary, you are not setting a boundary. If you are being polite about setting your boundary, yeah. It's as if you are this meek little mouse and this dragon is going, rah! And the meek little mouse goes, please don't do that, sir. And the dragon is going, rah! Yeah, it's fucking not going to work. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. Which is why I do the back the fuck off. Because that's when they go, whoa. You have to match the dragon. You have to show the dragon that you can fight back. Because that's really what this is about. They're bullying you because you're vulnerable. An abuser needs 3 things from you. Ignorance. They need you to be stupid. They need you to be cooperative. And they need you to be there. They need you to be available. I'm going to say that again. They need you to be uneducated. They need you to be cooperative. And they need you to be available. In order to do that, all abuse revolves around those 3 things: keeping you stupid, keeping you cooperating, and keeping you available. So there's many methods. And the minute you say, please don't do that, that's cooperative. Because you are still prioritizing their feelings above your safety. Like, really. Like, think about how much of a monster they make you feel they are and match it. I cannot tell you how much it pisses me the fuck off that so many women are so concerned about preserving the feelings of men who rape them. Well, I don't want to be mean. He can rape you, but you don't want to be mean? Really? Are we doing this? He can touch you whenever the fuck he wants, but you don't want to be mean? I don't even know where to begin. Like, I'm going to be putting together, I'm probably going to do it here in this space. I'm probably going to be turning this space into a, let's talk about boundaries. Let's talk about communication. Let's get this training going. Let's get you guys like to a point where you desensitize yourselves to assertiveness. And I remember my first case study, she had a situation and she sent me a text. She was throwing up while babysitting. And the people she was babysitting were assertive narcissists. And she's like, I'm throwing up. I said, so go home. And she's like, well, I don't want to upset them. You're throwing up. You're trying to not puke on their kids. Trust me, they don't want you there. What? Tell them. So she sends this long, I'm so sorry. I'm very sick. I wish I could, but so I wrote her a text. I said, okay, we're going to try this. I am sick and need to go home. When can you be here? That's all I wrote. And I sent it to her and she goes, oh my God, isn't that mean? So I wrote another text. Hey, you fucking stupid, lazy ass bitch. When the fuck are you going to get home? I'm sick. Passive, assertive, mean. And she went, oh, there. Mean is when you're saying to people, you stupid fucking bitch, when are you going to get home? And to ensure, this is avoidant, this is 100% the parental paradigm pendulum. We are so, no, not we. I fixed this in me. You, everybody else, not me, because I fixed this shit. It only took like thousands of rapes to figure this shit out. So yeah, I'm like, do this, end rape, do this. Well, I mean, it's not going to end rape, but it's really going to minimize a lot of it. So yeah, I got a personal agenda here. By understanding that you've got your boundary setting over here to the mean core. And then you've got this assertive, this is what's going to happen. This is my authority. We have this thing in our head that states authority is X. And so we are so avoidant. And this is it, people. This is the juice. You are so avoidant of being assertive. You're so terrified of being aggressive. You are so assertive, are so avoidant of being like your predators that you're all the way over here in the passive danger zone. This is fucking dangerous to be in because this is where you get raped. Believe me, I know. So you got to get over here. You got to put the gloves on and you've got to drop your authority. And that's all we're talking about here. We're not talking about being mean. We're talking about dropping your authority. Oh, I am so going to be using that. Drop your authority. Dropping your authority down is boundary setting. So now we're getting into the how. We're going to drop your authority. And I'm going to, Bergen is a great example of this. My defense system's name is Bergen. Bergen. And okay, so I've got history here. So I'm going to like briefly, Bergen is also one of my alters. He was my alter for 17 years. I found out 17 years he was my alter. I had no idea I was with him for so long, or he was with me, one of us. Bergen, this is where multiple personality disorder gets really interesting, is a 6'1", no, I'm sorry, he was 6'2" Nordic warlord and a prince. And he was Bergen the Bard. He was a fucking huge man. And he was one of my alters. And he really was one of my alters. He is a case where it was my defense system personified, and then the defense system personified became one of my alters. When I integrated, that part of him went away. He's still my defense system. So when I put down a boundary, when I'm mad, Bergen comes out. Again, it's the personification of your own defense. And what I'm seeing is a lot of women have a defense system that's like a little mouse. I see Stuart Little. I see Stuart Little in so many women, and I'm going, what the fuck are you doing? There are predators out there. And I'm all Viking. I am all like Viking warrior queen. Like, I got this fucking shit down. Well, that's what Bergen is. So I'm like Viking warrior queen here. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Like, no one's gonna fuck with me. I've got swords. I mean, I literally have fucking swords, you know. So I got this whole Viking warrior queen shit down. And I really do. And it's like this, God, this is my defense. And it's this aversion of power. Oh, that's what they're doing. It's the aversion to power. So you associate power with being mean, and you don't want to touch that because you're scared of it. And you really need to rework the way you think about authority and power, because authority and power is not mean. And a lot, no, not a lot. 100% of our culture has been cultivated around the narcissist. What is the word for it? Wet blanket? I need a word for this. It's the Joffrey. There. Our society is completely built around the Joffrey narcissist. Now, at the end of the day, we all knew how absolutely peon Joffrey was, right? We all know this, right? For the record, I did not watch Game of Thrones. Just putting it out there. I kind of watched it. I half watched it. That's a story. As soon as Ned Stark died, I went, well, I'm done. That was the only reason why I was watching. So I got up to the part where Ned Stark dies. Because what else is there? so yeah, so I'm gonna say all of this, not really knowing half of the shit from Game of Thrones, and I don't give a fuck because I'm a Tolkienite. So all right, so here's how this goes. Our 100% of our culture was created by someone like Joffrey. Okay, you really got to wrap your head around this. Okay, and I can give you the history, I can show you the sociology, I can show you the psychology of when and where and how and all that jazz. But right now, I really just need you to wrap your head around the fact that our culture was invented and created and built by Joffrey. Okay? Joffrey. Yeah. So the number one trait that Joffrey had was he was so much of farking. I love that word so much. I just invented it and I'm keeping it, and it was accidental. Farking. Oh, we're going to keep this word in my dictionary. Farking. Joffrey was so much of a narcissist, a farking narcissist. That's it. A narcissist, that he developed a culture that ensured everyone would shrink in his peon presence. Really, wrap your head around this. He wanted a culture that ensured that everyone would shrink around his peon presence. Oh yes, this is society, modern society by Anna. Modern society by Anna 101. Yes, yes. So Joffrey creates this entire society of a shrinking existence to cater to his peon presence. So when he stands a whole whopping, what is this word? Mama's boy? I mean, I really hate to say those words because that's like, well, those are Joffrey's words. Look at that. Amazing. Wow. Joffrey gave me the words. Okay, so I'm going to use Joffrey's words against him. He is a mama's boy. He is a weak little mama's boy who absolutely made sure that no one stood higher than the king. So he made sure that he put words into our system that shrinks everybody else to make sure no one stands higher than the king. Good God, this is so literal. Like, which is why the dais was on a platform, on a throne, so that no one's head could be higher than the king's. True story. Wow, this is fun. So we're all shrinking to make sure we stay smaller than Joffrey's peon presence. Now, as a result, we have all of this stuff that is over here in the peon presence. And the first person who I'm going to put in this group is white man. Yeah, I'm making this political. But not just white man, like redneck white man. The ones who mock any kind of change. The racists, the misogynists, these fucking assholes, the prejudice, the ignorant, these assholes. These are the assholes who built our society. And they built the society for them. And they want to preserve this garbage. So it's really the rest of the world right now versus these guys. And look at that. Joffrey is like, oh yeah. So you've got Joffrey, the great peon presence, versus everybody else. Now you have a whole lot of rainbow happening over here now. We're going to call this Rainbow Land. And we do. We have a whole lot of rainbow happening over here. Believe me, trust me, this has to do with boundaries. You have a whole lot of rainbow land happening over here. And then you've got Joffrey's little kingdom. Oh, I'm loving this. And every time someone tries to step out of rainbow land, the peon presence gets pissed off. So they mock, they ridicule rainbow land. They slander us. Oh, I know exactly how to do this. I love seeing cookie crumbs in my past going, I remember I was watching Drunk History and they were talking. I could totally do Drunk History. Oh my God, could I? And there's this one episode where they're talking about the Ku Klux Klan. And it was during the Superman. It was the 1950s, 60s. And the guys in the newspapers were basically mocking the Ku Klux Klan publicly in the newspapers. And this particular group ended up dying out because the Ku Klux Klan members would go home and see their children literally reenacting these stories that defeat the Ku Klux Klan. So this is like, and I can almost see this taking place now today, very much so, where you've got this Joffrey peon presence of a kingdom of this society that we're living in, and everybody is shrinking in Rainbow Land to make room for Joffrey's ego. And anytime someone stands up, they're becoming aggressive. And in order for us to remain abused, you can't use boundaries. But what else is going on here is whenever we do even touch power and authority, we associate power and authority with Jeffrey's peon presence. So as a result, a lot of people are avoiding authority and power. But here's the kicker. Authority and power is the thing that's going to allow you to set your boundary. You can't set a boundary and not touch your authority and your power. A lot of people have problems with setting authority or setting boundaries because they have a really, really poor relationship with their own authority and power. And it's not going to be well. It's just not going to work. So this is where you have to ask yourself, value and priority. What do you value? And what is your priority? Every time anyone comes into my office and we begin a session, right off the gate, this is onboarding for me, is what do you value? And what is your priority? And I really want you to ask yourself this. What do you value? And what is your priority? Define it. Because, and almost everyone comes in and they say things like, well, I want to be better. I want to heal. Okay, you want to heal. But how much? Do you want to heal just enough to function in the society? Do you want to heal just enough to keep your day job? Do you want to heal enough to be happy? Do you want to heal enough to appease, to function while you appease your abusers? I've had people who try to do this, where they want to heal enough so that they can get back to appeasing their abusers. You got to be honest with yourself. What are you here for? What are you prioritizing? You have to define your priority. Now, my favorite people, my diehard people, my clients are the people who say, priority? My priority is I will get better no matter what. No matter what. Let me tell you what that looks like. Getting better no matter what means you're going to lose almost everyone in your life. Now, the good news is you're going to get better people. But it's a reality. You're going to lose everybody. But you're going to lose the garbage people. You're going to lose the garbage people. You're going to lose the people who are not worth keeping. You are going to teach people how you are to be treated. You are going to find yourself. That's the difference. That is the difference right there. So when you step in and you decide to start taking on this journey of healing, what you are really doing is you are sorting out your values, sorting out your priorities. You are stepping into your authority, your power, and your control. And to do that, this is 100% linked to your boundaries. But you're not going to touch your boundaries if you don't wrap your head around this. So the first type of boundary, now that we've covered all of this, the first type of boundary that you have is your verbal boundary. Now, a verbal boundary, there's a rule and then there is a self-rule. A rule is a projected boundary. I don't want to use a boundary. It's a rule. It's a projection of your own insecurity. A lot of people think that what they have said is a boundary when in fact it is a projected rule. And projected rules don't work. which is why a lot of people, when they start setting boundaries, will say, well, I set a boundary. What did you say? Well, I said, don't do it. Well, that's not a boundary right now. A boundary is private. A boundary is actually unspoken. A boundary is for you. It is a you rule that you need to keep to yourself. If you do X, then I will. And you gotta follow through. One of my boundaries is if X gossips, then I end the call. Now, I'm going to really emphasize the word I in this sentence. Nowhere does it say you. It's if my mother gossips, then I end the call. If a client gossips, then I end the call. If a client argues with me, then I end the session. I don't have time for arguing. If my methods didn't work, my methods work. There's a reason why I only work with select people. If blank does not happen the way I need it to happen for me, then I take control. We're back to the power, authority, control. You've got to get your, you got to become so cozy warm with authority, power, control, because this is really what it comes down to. And by the way, this is confidence. Your relationship with authority, power, and control is all about confidence. And confidence is a fruit of this labor. So you have your authority, you have your power, you get control, which leads to confidence. And then you do it again. Now, this is the best part about it. I would say 98% of the people you set a boundary for are going to do this. Oh my God, I am so sorry. I feel so bad for upsetting you. I will walk away now and give you space. And you'll go, whoa, I have power. Yeah, I went a little power crazy at first. I was throwing boundaries down all over the place just because. I hope you do this too. I really do. And case study number 1 did it. She went, wow, my power. Look at my boundaries. Yes, very good. Yes, go. Set out your boundaries. And it's so funny because the first time you set a boundary, it is like this diehard terror. The second time you set a boundary, it's like this, okay. Third time, it's like, whoa. And then you become you become Joffrey for a bit, where you're throwing your boundaries all over the place. And then you're like, no, I'm going to adjust this over here. It's like you just discovered the thermostat. It's that time in your life when you discover the thermostat. And you can just adjust the thermostat however you want. So you keep adjusting the thermostat. Oh, I love it. All right, so these are your boundaries, man. These are your boundaries. So it's really an if-then statement. If somebody does X and decide what X is, then I'm going to call, or I'm going to end the call, or I'm going to do this. And it's what I like to call the silent test, where I will meet someone and I've got my list of my boundaries in my head. I will meet somebody. And let's say I'm on a dating thing. I'm in a dating, not even a dating thing, but if I'm networking, if I'm like in a physical location, and somebody asks the question, so are you married? Oh, well, you just failed my boundary. You just failed my boundary. This is a boundary that I have. If somebody asks me if I'm married, they have failed to ask me, and I have to clarify right out of the gate. If it's the first question they ask, you know they're asking if they have an obstacle, while also denying my own autonomy. So for me, if I hear the words, so are you married? Oh, no, we don't do that. No. You don't get to ask a personal question like that bullshit right out of the gate. No. Now, I'm not going to say that to them. I say instead, I don't play that game. And I walk away. Done. That's it. The boundary's for me. It's my rule to follow. So someone says to me, so are you married? I don't play that game. And I walk away. That's simple. I'm not arguing with them. I'm not explaining. I'm not teaching them. I'm not making them feel good. I don't give a shit who these people are. Because bottom line is, they are not my people. If they were my people, they would know that it's fucking rude to start a conversation like that. So no, we don't do that. No, we don't do that at all. And I'm going to point out that the people who are going to have a problem with that are your peon presence Joffreys who think that that is an acceptable type of dating bullshit. I don't cater to those people. Those people are not my people. Those people are not my people. And if you think that that's an okay type of people, you are not my people. And that's okay. You don't have to be my people. I don't want to be your people. You can go take that archaic dating style elsewhere. I don't want it around me. So it's like this nice little, but that's how you drop a boundary. I don't play that game and I walk away. It is the walking of the way that is the boundary. It is the walking away that is the boundary. So a boundary is equivalent to, I have arrived on this land and there are wild animals in the jungle. I could build a house or I could build a fucking fence. The boundary is the fence. So you build the fence, you build your boundary, and the tiger comes out of the jungle. And you go, stop, don't do that. Or some people, please don't do that. In that Snow White garbage crap. You're going to get eaten by the tiger. This is a really good example. This is it right here. Would you say to a tiger, please don't eat me? You're going to get eaten. No, what Snow White would do is run. Well, no, she wouldn't. She would sing to the fucking tiger. Stop singing to the fucking tiger. You get your fucking ass behind the boundary. You walk away. So that's what you do. You walk away. You put yourself behind the boundary. There, the end. It is actually like there's no dialogue required. You just walk away. I remember this one woman. I was my beautiful self, my sunshine self, and truly I was just being me. And I walked over to her. We were at a festival. I was very high that day. I was also very like, hello. And this is me. I was full, total sunshine imagination. And I ran over to her and I went, hi, because I was just so thrilled to see a new person. And she went, no. That was a boundary. And I just went, oh, okay then. And that was it. That's all she needed to do was a no. Okay. All right then. It was the best boundary I ever got. I didn't touch her. I just greeted her. And all I got was no. Oh, okay. All right. Not my people. All right then. I'm so glad she set her boundary. No idea who she was. No idea what her name was. Never got that far. And it was just no. Okay. Yes. I love people. The right people will love your boundaries. The people who are for you will love your boundaries. They will thank you for your boundaries. That's a really good clue. Stop giving a shit about people who aren't your people. Protect you first. We're back to the value and the priorities. The other flip side of all of this is our relationship with the word nice. Now, I don't talk a lot about this because Dr. Aziz Gazipura really says everything I have to say about it in his book, Not Nice. Go buy it. Read it. It is a really good book. It was the book that slammed into my face that made me go, oh, I understand. And it changed me, like really, night and day. Not Nice is the milestone in my life where I went, this is when change happened, is because it was understanding this, my relationship with authority, power, control, understanding that not nice is a Joffrey word. So Joffrey created words for his little shrinking peon presence. The first one was, you have to be nice. Don't be mean. I am going to put this on my website. a list of Joffrey's peon presence rules. So you can see all of the stupid rules in our society that shrink you so you'll be easy to abuse. And that's really it. We have rules in our society literally designed to keep you easily abused. Yeah, it's fucking disgusting, isn't it? Rainbow Land. And what I'm seeing a lot of is people rising up because they're getting pissed off. And they're starting to talk about it. They're starting to rise up and say, look, we're sick of this. And as soon as they stand up, this peon presence will go, oh, you're woke, or they'll mock us, or they'll say some bullshit. And then they'll scoff us. Oh, did I hurt your feelings? Toxic masculinity much? Do you see the war that's going on right now? Because this is really it. Is you've got Rainbow Land versus Joffrey's peon presence. And there is, and it's Trump, by the way, is like the poster boy of these assholes. I'm very happy with that statement. I love that. Trump is the poster boys of these assholes. Like, this is it. And you've got two types of people. The people who are too fucking lazy to make the change because it's comfortable, and the people who truly ethically believe that this is okay. And this is it right here. People who vote for Trump but don't like him are the people who say, I like it comfortable, but I'm just too lazy to change it. And they'll go with the flow. They're just parrots who will just do what the majority does. And then you have people who truly ethically support this garbage. So it's so funny because there's like a list of labels and names that come out. There's like political, there's sexual, there's I don't know any of it. I don't touch it. I don't play that fucking game. I am out of the game. Everyone's playing Monopoly and I'm going, enjoy. And I'm walking away. I'm playing prosperity over here. Yeah, I'm playing prosperity. You guys are all playing Monopoly and have fun. So whenever someone comes to me with any Monopoly garbage rules, my response is always, yeah, I'm playing prosperity. I'm not even playing this game. I have my own thing happening over here. And I got my own people who are part of my own thing. I love my people and they love me and we have a thing happening. But there's like this thing happening and I know you're out there. I know you want to leave it. And I'm right there. I'm going, yes, come to the dark side. We have prosperity. We do. Like it's absolutely extraordinary. So if you don't know, let me explain this analogy because a lot of people don't know this. When Monopoly was made, it had two games to it. You could play with the Monopoly rules and you can play with prosperity rules. I found the rules to prosperity. Now, the landlord game is actually what is happening, and it's literally what we're living. It is, let's deplete the monetary system with inflation until it's financially impossible for anyone to survive. The other game is called prosperity. Prosperity is different. It is pulling together. It is not communism. Communism is prosperity being explained by a bunch of monopoly landers who don't understand prosperity. I'm going to say that again. Communism is what a capitalist thinks prosperity is. But when they can't see outside of the world of monopoly, they're not going to understand prosperity. So they need to go home and educate themselves a little bit more. All of these rules, all of these words, all of these labels are products of this Joffrey's peon presence. And I'm just like, nope, we're done. I'm all done with it. I don't play that game. So when you start to realize, when you start to learn and see the language, because this is 100% the language's fault. when you, and this is like the core of all of the crap that I build. At the very top of this massive, whose fault is it? It's the language's fault. It's the words we use. Because when you start to realize how much the words are embedded into us and how they just trickle down and change our behavior. And because the reason why is because every word has an emotion behind it. So I want you to imagine, this is going to be a really, well, it's true. It's a good analogy. A word is a gun, but the bullet is the emotion. So we use words to shoot emotions into each other. Emotions are energy, and emotions are perspectives and stories, truths and lies that build up logic. I know shit. So whenever you use a word, it's like you're firing off a gun, and you've got that thing loaded with emotions, bullets, that's being literally projected like a projectile into other people. And you can literally puppet and manipulate whoever you want by injecting them with the right emotional concoction. This is manipulation. By injecting the right concoction of an emotional cocktail, you're going to get ABC as far as the response goes. And all you have to do is choose the right words. That's all you got to do. Yeah, words matter. So suddenly you're walking around and you are carefully selecting each and every word to ensure the right emotional cocktail, so that when you speak the words to another person, you're just shooting them up with an emotional cocktail to get the desired response out of them. And you can do this consciously, or you can do it habitually without any conscious awareness. When it's done habitually, well, that is narcissism. And when it's done consciously, that is what we call malicious. Stage 4 is the only narcissist stage where it is both malicious and narcissistic. Stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3, it's habitual. They have no idea. So you're firing off all of these emotions using words that you have no fucking idea what the meaning is. Because the value of your words, the value of your emotions, and the fact that you are loved don't exist. So you cannot process, oh, my words actually affect people. Which is another reason why a lot of us don't use boundaries, because we think our words don't matter. Rule number 1 of Joffrey land. Words don't matter. Rule number 2 of Joffrey land. Emotions. Fuck you, Spock. Are illogical. 99% of the garbage out of Joffrey land is gaslighting. It's misinformation, deliberately designed to shrink you so you'll be easy to abuse. Because if you were aware of this stuff, what did I say? I said that you have to be uneducated, you have to be cooperative, and you have to be available. Be those three things and you will get abused because you're an easy target. Don't be an easy target. Hence, philosophical coffee. Yeah, I definitely love this idea of putting this on my website. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. I have a classroom on my website. The classroom. I love the classroom. I need to organize a classroom because my classes are like, but I love the classroom. It makes me so happy. I'm having narcissism is, mental illness is just a corruption of story. It's just a person getting in the wrong story. I started writing my script yesterday and I wrote 30 pages. It's going to be a 90 to, I'm aiming for 90 pages, but I got onto this morning and I was like, oh my God, I want a script write. And I'm very excited, very, very excited. It is literally me showing multiple personality disorder from inside the head by somebody who knows what it felt like to have multiple personality disorder inside the fucking head. And it also shows how I was able to escape my own mind using Triadic Healing while I invented it inside my mind. So it's literally all of Triadic Healing included in the motion picture while you get a good look at what multiple personality is. And oh my God, I'm so excited about it. So the script is like 1/3 done. And I am just, oh my God, I'm so excited. I want to talk about what it feels like to remove narcissism from your system. Because one of the things that I noticed was how much you sleep. There is a healing process. Like narcissism comes out and then you heal. There's like a recovery period. Oh my God. I have been sleeping like, wow, have I been sleeping? I've been sleeping about 10 to 12 hours now. And it's just the recovery. It's from all the shifting and changing in the brain. And it's extraordinary. It's been mind blowing. I'm about 8 days into it. The 16th of December is when I discovered the cure, and it's been extraordinary. I had my first group of people, and then I sent it out wider, and it was like, wow. And it's funny because accountability is really your relationship with authority, power, control. And that's a huge part of this. So, my God, it was extraordinary. That's a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about under Philosophical Coffee. I'm talking about everything. The gloves are coming off, really. This is a space where I do my journaling. I do my research. But for the most part, this space it's the classroom now. It's let's sit down and let's start covering this. And it's really focusing on the introduction and the beginning of healing. It's going right over that beginning part. And the way I explain it, I wish I had a graph. I'll show a graph. I'll probably do a Zoom video later today, and I'll do a graph, and then I'll add it to the classroom so people get the big picture, because you really need to start with the big picture when you're ready to heal. So yeah, it's been extraordinary. And in addition to that, I have, my holistic healing methods that I use for the garden. I'm going to go over them now. It's meditation, positive affirmations, making sure that you use the words you are inside the positive affirmations, not I am, you are. Neuroscience has proven that you are works, I am doesn't. And I've explained several times before why. And It's because we have the U of I and we mirror mimic repetition. When you say I am, it's not going to activate the mimic mirror repetition. So make sure you are saying you are when you're using positive affirmations. Say them in front of a mirror. Also, say them in front of a mirror. Because again, this activates the mimic mirror repetition. Reciprocity center of the brain. And that is how we learn. And then havening. Havening is something I'm highly passionate about. Art therapy, creativity, imagination, vision, exercise, yoga, tai chi, walking, and nature baths. I need to go through my Japanese languages and look it up. I cannot remember what they call nature baths. A nature bath. Right there it was. Akureri. Oh, get this. Nope, that is a town in Iceland. That is not it. The Japanese, I love the Japanese. Their language is so Shinrin-yoku. There you go. Shinrin-yoku. Shinrin-yoku is the therapeutic act of spending time in nature. That's it. Shinrin-yoku. So this is something that I'm huge on. There we go. And it's called nature baths, nature bathing. It is a Japanese practice. And there's a lot of stuff that I pull from Japanese, like Tai Chi. Well, is Tai Chi? No, Tai Chi is not Japanese. Tai Chi is Chinese. Walking. Walking is huge, like major priority. Prioritize walking. I cannot explain to you enough. Let me see. Meditation, prioritize. So I'm going to have, this is in my holistic healing methods used by the Healing Garden. I am 100% holistic. I do not believe in pharmaceuticals. Cognitive behavioral therapy. Absolutely prioritize this one. And it is easy. You do not need a therapist for it. You can get workbooks on that one. Gratitude journaling and manifestation. Show me the way. Now, my manifestation is physics. I don't fuck around with shit. And I break down the physics of what actually is going on. Okay, I'm just going to be very blunt here. You are using classical conditioning on your RAS system. That's it. That's all you're doing. You are using classical conditioning on your RAS system. That is manifestation. You are getting your subconscious mind out of your fucking way. And you are doing it with positive affirmations. So when you manifest, what you are really doing is using positive affirmations to classically condition or brainwash your RAS system in your subconscious mind to get the fuck out of your way. That is manifestation. Very, very scientific. Very, very, very neuroscientist proven. Has nothing whatsoever to do with spirituality. The whole concept of you got to believe it. Well, yeah, you got to believe it. In order to believe it, you just use some classical conditioning to recondition your RAS system so that you get that belief out of there. You can literally cherry pick whatever beliefs you want to get whatever behavior you want. Yeah, this is where my psychology really gets scientific. So this is how it works. Your beliefs, your logical beliefs, your logical health determines what behavior you're going to have. So you can choose what behavior you want by doctoring your belief system into whatever it is you want. And if you know the formula, and I do, I will give it to you. It is what you love, what you ethically value, what qualities you want with what beliefs you have. That's it. And once you have all this logical health, I love, therefore I do, and let me give it to you right. It's I love, I do, therefore I am. There you go. That's it. That's logic. And then that's it. So you cherry pick the qualities you want. You plug them in to that formula, and that formulates your beliefs. And you just do that over and over again. Combine positive affirmations. You choose the imagined vision of who you want to be. And you say I am, and you use you use positive affirmations with your mimic reciprocity, mimic mirror repetition response. You are a successful Hollywood actress. You are a successful whatever. Plug it in. And then you emanate that. And you have a long-term vision and a short-term, show me the next step to this vision. So you're manifesting this while you're also manifesting this. You have to be open, to be flexible, to allow the universe, your subconscious mind, to shift you however it needs. So it will fit you into that. This is a subconscious mind. And then your subconscious mind literally shreds off the invasive perspective. This is how you get rid of mental illness. And then it shifts your perspective so that your behavior fits with your logical health, because the universe really needs everything aligned. She is obsessed with alignment because we live in a clock. This is all just a mathematical clock. It's really anticlimactic. I was doing the astrology the other day. I was studying Plato's astrology, and I'm like, how did divination works? And I'm sitting here looking at it, and I'm looking at astronomy and astronometry, and I'm looking at the stars and going, how? It's just a clock. The whole fucking thing is just a clock. We're inside a clock. It's just mathematical repetition. Oh my God, this is so boring. So fucking boring. And it was the sudden realization that the only reason why we can use astrology to predict behavior is because we're in a clock and it goes in a pattern and it's math. And it's just like, this was really anticlimactic. Mathematical predictive patterns. Okay. So I'm done with that project because it was just mathematical projections. Like I do this with my own world peace plan. Like, this is how I did it. Was I know the predictable pattern of the 12 steps of societal and evolutionary growth. I know because I've studied these patterns. I can see the arc of the patterns. I can see how they keep going in a rotation of spiral dynamics. Thank you, Dr. Reyes. I can see it all. And I'm going, oh, it's just, so we are evolving into the sixth perspective. And that is when we all become pacifists. Okay, gotcha. World peace is going to happen. I don't really have to do anything. I just have to tell people like, hey, did you know this is going to happen? And it's really fucking cool. And it's happening right now, which is why everything's kind of crazy. That's why. It's awesome. But it's math. It's just math. The way I put it the other day is it's like looking at a clock, a 24-hour clock, and being, wow, did you know that 2 o'clock happens twice in a 24-hour period every day? It's mathematical patterns. Except the clock is a small example. We live in a big example. And the clock that we live on, that we live inside, we live in a pocket. We are a cog on a pocket watch. And that's really, we live on a cog in a pocket watch. This is really anticlimactic. I was so disappointed. I'm sitting here going through it like, what is the universe? What is it? It's a clock. We just live in a clock. So, yeah, it's just mathematical patterns. That all being said, manifestation is just knowing exactly how to clean out the cogs in the clock. It's really like, okay, you just need ABC. Here's the formula, plug that in, and there you go. So you can literally choose whatever you want, and you can plug it in, any behavior you want, any belief system that you want. Plug it in, and then just click it right into place. In order to know who and what you want, you need to know who you are, which are your coordinates to your location in this big, huge fucking clock that we're in. Not knowing your coordinates fucks you up. Believe me, I know. Which is why a lot of people are fucked up. It's because they're going, I don't know who I am. I don't know where I am, because you've lost your coordinates. You don't know where you are on the big clock. Let me show you. Oh, yeah, somebody asked me to do that. I'm going to do a quiz to help you decide where you are on the 12 perspectives so that you know where you are on the 12 perspectives. I've decided not to tell people what they are anymore because I'm just sick of that. I believe that that's invalidating. And I believe that my opinion and my value, my words should not be held at this. I don't believe that. It feels icky to me. So I'm at a point where I'm going, I'm not going to tell you what your perspective is. You need to have the authority to go in, read the goddamn description and decide where you are. Where do you want to be? And this is really it. There's where you want to be. And that's who you are. And if you're one of those persons to say, I'm here, okay, great. Now, realistically, which of these ethics have you learned? You need to figure that out for you. And this is self-honesty. This is where you've got to be fucking brutally honest. I'm going to get into the levels of honesty coming up, where I teach you how to be self-honest, because, oh, is that tough shit? That is tough shit. And then in addition to that, there is where your trauma has frozen you, where your trauma has frozen you. And because that's it, that's your second number, that's your subconscious mind's number. So where you want to be, and then and that's what I say, where you ethically are. And then there's where you want to be. And then there is the last one, what your environment is. And being realistic about your environment is a big chunk of this. So there's what you ethically want, where your trauma has frozen you to be, and what your environment has you at. And you need alignment. You must have alignment. If you don't have alignment, well, it's gonna fucking hurt. The more out of alignment you are, the more problems you have. So, all right, I feel good about this. Yeah, I will be setting to work on that. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for your audience, and may the kindest of words always find you.